Uh, Good morning, all of you. Gujarat Science City is organizing a webinar on World Ozone Day, and the tagline is Ozone for Life 35 Years of Healing. Today, with us, our resource person, Shri Shwetar Shah, sir. Sir is a technical advisor in Climate Change Department, Gandhinagar. I request sir to start our webinar.
Thank you. So I will share my presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So thank you very much, Miss Harshida Patel and Gujarat Council of Science City Ahmedabad for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you on this very important day of World Ozone Day, which is celebrated every year on 16th September.
Yes.
So I will share some of the details why this day is important and how ozone is a very important gas for all of us in our life and to live live a good life. So, as all of us can see, this is how our Earth looks beautiful from far. So, this is a picture taken from a satellite in 90s, which shows the beauty of our Earth because it was such first photograph of the Earth to mankind, so that we can see how our entire Earth looks. So, as all of us know, there are several planets in the universe, but Earth is the only place where human being can live or any life form can exist. So, we have many other planets and celestial parts in our universe, but all of them are not habitable. And because of the gaseous composition of the atmosphere of our Earth, we can live and we can sustain life on the surface of the Earth. So there are several things which is say in our air. So there are several layers of gases uh, in our atmosphere, and every gas has some important role to play. So as all of us know that there is a different concentration of different gases in our atmosphere. Almost 78% is the nitrogen, 21% is the oxygen, and in less than 1% all other gases uh, come together, which includes carbon dioxide, hydrogen, etc. We breathe oxygen to survive. Also, plants and animals also consume oxygen. At the same time, plant while doing photosynthesis releases the CO2, and thus the balance of gases happens in the atmosphere. But due to some recent changes in the human lifestyle, we have started altering some composition of these gases in the atmosphere, and therefore we are finding some issues in our daily life in terms of environmental consequences. Ozone is a very minuscule gas if we see the entire concentration of gases in the atmosphere. Ozone is merely a 3 part per million. However, it has a very important role in its uh, position. So, as we all know, that sun is the major source of energy to Earth and entire universe, and we are bound by gravitational force of the uh, solar system. And when solar radiation comes to the Earth, it passes through the atmosphere, and there are certain chemical interaction this solar radiation makes with the layer of the atmosphere. So most of this radiation is absorbed by the earth, and that is the major reason behind the warm temperature of the globe. So we have average 15 degrees centigrade temperature of our earth. Some energy is re-radiated back into the space by earth in form of infrared waves, and some of this outgoing infrared radiation is trapped by the earth atmosphere, and that warms the earth. So we know this as a greenhouse gas effect. And this presence of this greenhouse gases like CO2 is important in keeping the warmth of the earth. But when concentration of these greenhouse gases increases in the atmosphere, it becomes a cause of concern. So when there is an alteration in the chemical composition of these gases, there is an issue. So basically, when we alter the natural composition of gases into the atmosphere, we found the problem. So this is the entire picture of greenhouse effect, so that we can understand that how things happens, and this is a natural process which should occur, and if there is some alteration to this natural process, then there may be some problem. So in last century we have identified such couple of problem. A problem in ozone layer depletion. So as I told earlier, that ozone is very in a very limited amount in our troposphere. So in this figure you can see the troposphere, stratosphere and mesosphere. These are the different layers of the earth and earth's atmosphere, and the layer which is say near to the earth surface is the troposphere, and in this troposphere there is the ozone layer, and we have seen it is a very thin layer if we consider the entire say the height or the thickness of the troposphere. So sunlight is a catalyst in breaking up the ozone layer. So ozone is basically O3. So it is a special form of say oxygen, and when it breaks, then it breaks into oxygen and a single molecule of the oxygen. So it breaks up because of the chlorofluorocarbon and the chlorine that is present in the CFC and HFC gases, which are known as ozone depleting substances, because they react with the ozone molecule, and they liberate a single molecule of the oxygen from the ozone. So chlorine combines with oxygen atom, and that prevent them in combining with O2 from the ozone. So in ozone layer, there is a constant process of converting oxygen into O3 and again into oxygen. But because of the presence of HFC and CFC gases, hydrofluorocarbon and chlorofluorocarbon, this routine process of forming of ozone gets hampered. So greenhouse gas, as I told earlier, warm the troposphere and cool the stratosphere. And polar stratospheric clouds contain molecules with chlorine. When the molecules react, they from Cl2, after which sunlight split the molecule into Cl minus plus Cl minus. So this single molecule of the chlorine is disastrous for O3 at the ozone layer, or at the height where there is the issue of the ozone. So particularly in polar region, it is the major issue because polar region are the cold region of the earth, and therefore they have the more say important layer of the ozone. And global warming is enhances the ozone depleting process. Because of the warming, the reaction between the molecule of the chlorine and molecule of the oxygen becomes faster. So important to note is that chlorofluorocarbon remain in the atmosphere even after emission ceased due to Montreal Protocol. So as I told, the today 16 September is uh, remembered for the uh, sorry 16th September is known for the Vienna Convention. So Vienna Convention happened in the city of Vienna of Austria in the year 1985. So since the first convention that held in Vienna in 1985 on this day is every year celebrated as Ozone Day, and Vienna Convention is one of the most successful international convention so far when we talk about the uh, environment related international treaties and convention. So in Vienna Convention, the all countries decided that we should work in the direction so that we should not lose the ozone layer, and we should try to protect the ozone layer at the maximum possible level. And under the Vienna Convention, there was a detailed protocol which is known as Montreal Protocol. Montreal is the city in Canada, and the convention which held in the city of Montreal in after the Vienna Convention, and which worked out on different ozone depleting substance and how we can really stop using those ozone depleting substance, and we can restore our ozone layer. So important to note is that uh, once even we stop using the chlorofluorocarbon or other ozone depleting substances which are responsible in destroying the ozone layer, still those gases remain in atmosphere so very long, and they are so say poisonous in nature, so that they can continue destruction of the ozone for many years together. So it is not easy to remove ozone depleting substances. So only thing what we can do is stop releasing the ozone depleting substances. So if I go into little background of the history of the ozone gas and the its say discovery, then it dates back to 1839 when the scientists discovered the ozone by electrical discharge. They were doing some experiment and they found there is another form of oxygen which is not the O2 but the O3. So ozone is natural atmospheric constituent was discovered in 1850s, and then we also come to know that ozone is important in filtering or absorbing solar ultraviolet. And since ozone absorbs this ultraviolet radiation, it has very important role in our atmosphere. And then in 1913, we found the proof that most of the atmosphere ozone is located in the stratosphere. And in 1920, the instrument was invented to monitor the quantitative atmospheric ozone. The global ozone layer recovery has been linked mainly to decreasing chlorine and bromine loading, but other factors such as the role of greenhouse gases and climate change was also discovered. Then total combined effective abundance of ozone depleting compounds in the lower atmosphere peaked in 1992-1994, and after that it is declining. The ozone depletion in the Antarctic and Arctic and mid latitude is still continuing due to past emission of CFC. So as I told that in mainly tropical region it has restored, but in the polar region still we are finding the ozone hole. And the Montreal Protocol, which happened after the Vienna Convention, is working on ozone depletion from ozone depleting substances, and it is expected that in current decade and next decade our ozone will mostly be restored. So why we require to protect ozone layer basically? So due to ozone's property to filter the ultraviolet radiation coming from the solar irradiation, and which saves the humankind from disease like skin cancer, less productivity of plants, immunity to diseases, and uh, other adverse effect on the material property of different substances. And basically CFC were the reason behind the ozone depleting, and CFC mainly come into major anthropological use in the 20th century, because people started using refrigerators, air conditions, and different equipments in daily life, and that has given a rise of CFC use in our daily life. We also started using big air conditions and refrigeration for storing different things, and also CFCs were used in manufacturing of polyurethane foam and different types of foams. Uh, so the level of ozone depleting substances increased in our daily life, and that has given a rise to this. So, through different scientific analyses, we started measurement of ozone and reactive chlorine through use of different instruments and different techniques, including a jet flight, so that we can have real data of how ozone concentration is found in the different parts of the Earth's atmosphere, and basically on the different regions of the earth, like troposphere and the polar region. So basically, if we want to save the ozone layer, we should reduce you or we should stop using chlorofluorocarbons and other ozone depleting substances. Though these ozone depleting substances are not in very regular use by human being, but even their particular use in only one or two appliances is also very dangerous and disastrous for entire earth. Therefore, it is important that we should avoid use of such uh, gases. And apart from uses of ozone depleting substances, also the average temperature of earth also matters a lot in keeping the ozone layer. So only ozone depleting substance is not the only reason behind the issue of the ozone layer, but also the climate change is also one of the factor which keeps the uh, ozone layer at the danger. So the entire process of ozone formation and ozone cycle has contribution from chemical, radiative, and dynamic feedbacks. So we require to constantly watch this entire thing so that we can protect the ozone layer. Now we would like to understand that how we can know that what was the concentration of different gases, say before many centuries or uh, in past period, because we claim that before so many say 100 or 1,000 years or even millenniums, uh, we have altered the gas concentration in the earth's atmosphere, but how we can prove it? So this is the photograph of ice core. So we have say the different glacier on the earth, and if we drill those glacier and bring out the uh, say the ice core, then there are some gases which are trapped in this ice core, and through instrument we measure the concentration of the gas in the bubble which is stored or trapped within the ice. So if we see the historic concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and the temperature, then there is a correlation. So this curve shows or this graph shows the concentration of carbon dioxide and the temperature before say up to 800,000 years. So 0 to 8 lakh years, in between 0 to 8 lakh years, whenever there is an increase in the concentration of CO2 in the earth's atmosphere, that has always lead to increase in the temperature. And now if you see the tragedy, then presently the earth, the average CO2 concentration has never gone beyond 300 ppm in past. In past 800,000 years, earth's CO2 concentration has never been beyond 300 ppm. But today, what is the concentration? It is more than 420. So we can see how phenomenal it can be if our temperature will rise drastically. So therefore, it is important to understand the long-term cycle and long-term view of different gases concentration in the Earth's atmosphere. So in just last 40-50 years, we have seen say in last 50 to 100 years, we have already seen the increase of around 100 and 120 ppm of the CO2 in the atmosphere. And if the trend continues, after 40 years, the concentration of CO2 can be 600 ppm. And therefore we want to discuss on the issue of, say, ozone layer or climate change, so that we can avoid this situation. So do we want this situation to happen? No, we do not want it. And therefore we are today talking about say the different environmental challenges like climate change and ozone depletion. So if I share say few data of just last 3 years, then we can see how every year CO2 concentration is increasing, and this is a global phenomena. No, not a single country is left from this phenomena, because our atmosphere is common property. We do not have boundary in the atmosphere. We may have boundary on the land, but atmosphere and the gas are such things on the earth which does not have any boundary. Any gas can be generated anywhere, and it may have consequences anywhere on the earth. So we may have, say, political boundary or physical boundary between two countries, which, say, makes India say part from Pakistan, or China, or United States with Canada, or Europe with Britain, and Europe with Middle East. But that partition is not possible in the atmosphere, and therefore this issue is a global concern, and therefore global consensus or global friendliness is important to resolve this issue. And as I told, the 2018 data, if you can see, this is the 2nd May 2018 data, which shows 409 ppm concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere. Now in next slide, if you can see, in 2019 it has increased, say, from 409 to 415 ppm. Again, if you see this year data, which is May 2020, so it has again increased from 415 to 417 ppm. So every year we are contributing some more CO2 into the atmosphere, and we require to stop this phenomena. And if you see during 1960 to 2020, how this graph is continuously increasing, there is not a single decade in which there is, say, a decrease in even acceleration. We know that it is not possible for us to reduce the CO2 concentration from 417 and take it back to, say, 350 or 300 level. That is not possible, and we are not talking of that. But at least what we can do is we can stop it. We can stop increasing its concentration.
Sir,
So
ultimately, question છે CO2 ઉપર.
Sir.
Does CO2 is acidic in nature?
CO2 is acidic in nature, and therefore CO2 is also making oceans acidic.
Okay.
CO2 concentration of CO2, as I told in the last slide, which is increasing in our atmosphere. So where this CO2 is going, some of this CO2 is also being absorbed by the surface of the ocean. And when this CO2 interact with the ocean water, which is salty in nature, it makes the ocean water acidic. So ocean acidification is a major consequences of the increase of CO2 concentration apart from climate change, and which clearly indicates that the acidic nature of the this gas. So these are some of the other list of other greenhouse gases. Uh, the important greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide and methane, uh, and nitrous oxide, and some of the HFC and CFC gases, which are also ozone depleting and which are also greenhouse gases. But their concentration is very less in the atmosphere presently, but their global warming potential is very high. So we are not only creating new greenhouse gases, we are adding to natural one as well. So as I told, in industrial processes or in anthropogenic uses, we are using certain chemical gases. We are having greenhouse property, but we are also adding the natural, say, sources of greenhouse gases. How we are doing it? So basically, through various activities, we contribute, say, greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. What are these activities? Like transportation, land use change, using of fossil fuel. So these are all activities which adds CO2 and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Even waste generation by us, not treating waste properly, also add greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And these greenhouse gases remains for long in the atmosphere. They do not have short life. So even the methane or even any greenhouse gas which is emitted by us remains for long into the atmosphere. So largest source presently of this all greenhouse gases is the burning of fossil fuel. And therefore we are trying to advocate more on renewable energy so that we can reduce the burning of fossil fuel. So around 70% contribution is to the greenhouse gas emission is due to CO2, which is generated from fossil fuel. Then CO2 generated from land use change is also one of the major contribution. And this combined CO2 makes 70 more than 75% contribution to entire greenhouse gases. And the next comes the methane, which also contributes around 16% to the global warming. And the rest is because of the nitrogen oxides and other greenhouse gases. So deforestation, coal, oil, use of gas. So if we consider the fossil fuel, then gas, oil and coal are fossil fuel, and they are majorly contributing to the CO2 emission, and therefore we require to reduce the use of fossil fuel in any form we may be using. So in vehicles, in power generation or other industrial processes, whatever fossil fuel we are using, we require to stop them. So if you see the graph, which country are contributing more? So the blue line, which is on the top, is the global contribution of greenhouse gases in million metric ton. And if you see presently China and United States are two major contributing countries. India is also on the fourth rank after Europe, and our emission is continuously increasing because our population is increasing. And you see, apart from the drastic impact, there are several slow impact of climate change on different things. So, due to climate change, we can see different impacts on different sectors of our ecology. So, it is doing sea level rise, it is doing acidification of ocean, it is changing our rainfall pattern, it is changing say the impacts on the biodiversity and wildlife. So these are all impacts. So due to climate change, what is happening? So air temperature is increasing, glacier volume is decreasing, snow cover is decreasing, sea level rise is increasing, ocean heat content is increasing, sea surface temperature is increasing, sea ice in the sea is decreasing, water vapor is increasing, forest cover is decreasing, the soil moisture is decreasing. So these are the different impact on of climate change on different regions. And if we see the record of last 20 hottest year, then 19 are in these 2 decades. So we can see how severely this climate change is impacting, and how gradually it is increasing its impact. And all last 5 years have been the hottest of all. So as I so this completely correlate with the data I show you earlier, which is about the concentration of CO2, which is increasing from 300 or 350 level to today's level of 417 ppm. Also, global tree cover loss is also one of the challenge. So deforestation is also a challenge. So actually what is happening right now, that if there is problem in one sector, we can address it. Now problem is coming from every sector to the environment, and therefore these things are becoming more and more serious, and we require to look at all these issues very comprehensively, because when we are trying to solve one problem, we should not create another problem. And there is a projection of population increase, and if you see the population of China, India and Africa will become a concern by the end of this century, and there is a constant increase in population. So we will also have to reduce and look at the this socio-economic aspect as well. So what will be the say impact of climate change on different sectors? So food, water, health, economy, everything will be at the stake, and everything will have the impact of climate change on them. So what we can do? So we understand that there is an impact of climate change on every sector of economy. So as an individual, what we can do? So there are two things that we should do. One is the mitigation. So if we can stop, say, releasing ozone depleting substances or greenhouse gases, we should do it. And whatever greenhouse gases are there in the atmosphere, and if we cannot stop emitting it, then also we require to adapt to it. So adaptation and mitigation are two factors which we should consider in every say in every aspect of our life. So I am coming to the conclusion of today's presentation, and uh, and if there are any points, then we can discuss on it.
Yes, sir. Sir, there is a question. During this corona lockdown period, it is said that some of the ozone layer hole recovered. Up to how much extent it recovered? Is there any technical data?
Yes, there are technical data available, and still we do not have the data of entire year, because generally we analyze data, say, on year basis. But the initial data that is with us indicates that there is a decrease in emission of the greenhouse gases, and also there is recovery in ozone. But it is very minuscule. We will have to continue the momentum. So lockdown was an exceptional event in recent time, and that has definitely contributed positively to the environment. However, we require to continue that momentum.
Okay. Sir, your camera is off.
Your voice is not coming.
Okay, sir, your camera. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, your camera is off.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay, okay.
Just due to bandwidth issue, I stopped
Yes,
camera.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, there is no question now. I think we close our session here. Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful, informative session on the ozone layer. Thank you so much, sir, from behalf of Gujarat Science City. I thank you so much to spend your valuable time to us. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all the participants for joining us.
Thank
Thank you, sir.